Hi, it's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and today I thought I'd show you something that I've been working on in bits and pieces for a while. Last summer, almost a year ago, I went to a creative sewing event in Toronto, and there was a booth there for Quilts of Valour. Now, I'm sure you have heard of Quilts of Valour. I had not really until that point in time, and this essentially is an organization that donates quilts to retired service people or people that are no longer in active duty. And we had a lady come to our guild not too long ago and talk about the Quilts of Valour. And I didn't realize how important this is. These quilts are actually part of veterans therapy, I guess, after going into battle or overseas, as a peacekeeper here in Canada. It's something we just take for granted, and if we're not involved with the military, we don't really think about how much of a stress factor is involved. And these men and women come back and, well, they need help, and so quilts seem to be a healing therapy. We heard some personal stories. One of the ladies that's in my guild was in the military for over 30 years, and she got very emotional about the quilt that she had received from Quilts of Valour, and got the rest of us pretty emotional too. Makes me a little emotional thinking about it. So I thought, I'm going to get on with this, and I had purchased about 12 of their squares. They come in little packages with all the pieces cut and the instructions for putting them together. It doesn't take long to do a project like this. Here are two of the squares I've already made, a poppy one and a maple leaf, and they're pretty simple and pretty fast, and when you get them all done, you can put them together as a quilt, or you can just send them apparently the blocks, have a brochure, the blocks to them, and someone else will put them together, and they will see that a serviceman or woman will get the quilt. So I don't know when I'll get this done. They're aiming to have 20,000 quilts donated by the end of this year, I believe. They've already donated 12,000 since they started this program, and I think they started it about 10 years ago, but I'm not absolutely sure about that. So I thought I would do my part, and I'll work on these. I don't know if I'll get this done anytime soon, but I'm starting to work on it. So the one I'm going to work with today, to show you how this works, is called Day and Night 9-inch blocks. Day and Night Star 9-inch block. And this is what it looks like when it's finished. And you can see the instructions are fairly short and to the point, and they have the pieces already cut together. Now I did notice, I previewed the instructions here, and they say that there's supposed to be 4 3¼ inch squares of light fabric, 4 3¼ inch squares of dark fabric, one each of a 5-inch by 2 3/4 inch strip of light and dark fabrics, and 2 each of 2 3/4 inch squares light and dark fabrics. So here are the squares they're talking about. Light and dark. Okay, yes, there's 2 here. Okay, there's 2 here. And then the rectangles, 1 of each. But I did notice that they're talking about making the half square triangles from already squares. They've already cut them. It looks like somebody probably had a die cutting machine, like an AccuQuilt or something, or maybe not. So I have never actually, believe it or not, put half square triangles together where the triangles are already cut out. But I'm going to give it a go, and I don't think it's going to be too difficult. So you make those first, and then you just put it all together, and that's the final product. So I think this will be pretty easy. So let's start with the half square triangles. Now let me just get this right. You see they're showing a square here, and then you would cut it, you'd have the 2 pieces. Okay, so I just have to put these on top of these. So okay, let's go over to the sewing machine and do that, shall we? Okay, for this project today I'm using my smaller machine because it's already set up to do half square, or not half square, but to do piecing. My other machine, the bigger one, I've got it set up to do some embroidery because I'm going to a class tomorrow. And right sides together. I guess, oh yeah, okay, there is a right and a wrong side to this. So I think what I'm going to do is just get all of my pieces right side up. And just make sure these are all, they look like they've already organized them. Right sides, yep, they did. And line them up and away we'll go. Now I am set on this sewing machine with my 1/4 inch foot, and as I said, I didn't have to do anything today for this because it was already set up. So here we go. Let's put her in the machine. And oops, sorry if I moved the camera because I'm looking for my foot pedal. And there it is. Let's go. Now I can chain piece these, but I want to just check the first one to make sure that I have it right. Yep, that's what it's going to do. So I can just chain piece each of these. Let's do a couple on camera, and then you don't need to watch me put together all, I don't know how many blocks there are here. It's a little weird because I'm used to doing it another way, but that's okay. I have to learn and try new things all the time. Oops. And my next one, you can see this is going to go along pretty fast, especially when you're able to chain piece. Geez, I'm impressed with myself. I know how to chain piece. A year ago, I didn't know what that was. Okay, let's just do one more on camera. Oops, don't want to get two in here. I hope I'm putting these together right. Oh, I think I'm being an idiot. Yeah, what an idiot. Guess what I did? Too busy talking, not paying attention. I sewed the wrong sides together. Okay, I'm going to rip this out and start again, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just wanted to prove to you that I can do this correctly. So this is my last one to chain stitch in here. I corrected those two that I did with the sides the wrong way. Okay, so here's my long chain. So we need to separate these out. And I'm just cutting the thread between each one. Okay, now let's put them all the same way together. Now I need to take them over to my pressing mat and press them open. So we'll do that. Let's switch cameras here. Okay, here we are. Let's put away the seam ripper because I'm not going to admit to that. Get out my iron here. Just move those off to the side, and I'll bring this in so you can see it. And so we should press to the dark side, as they say. I'll set my seams. Let's lay them out here. Kind of assembly line. I'm just setting my seams. Apparently, I have been told that setting your seams is important because it relaxes the thread and it makes your squares, or in this case half square triangles, much more accurate. That's what I've been told, so that's what I'm going to do. And press to the dark. And I've been told you should press to the dark most times, not always, but most times, when you're using a lighter fabric so that the darker fabric doesn't show up underneath. Now, there's some cases where I guess you can't avoid that, and I have come across that a few times. I think a lot of this fabric in these particular ones that I purchased, they only cost $5 a kit. So I mean, really. And it's all going to a good cause. As I was saying, I think this fabric may have come from the 150th anniversary of Canada collection. I always like to turn them over, give them just another press to make sure that my seams are going the way they should. Okay. So there we go. Let's put the iron away. Let's move the mat out of the way. And I'll just put these out here. So how many have I got? 8, I think. Yes, 8. All right, so what's next? Okay, so 4 rows is shown by arrows, and then sew the rows together as per the layout. Please do not trim. Okay, so let's lay this out. So there's a light square up here, and then there's 2 of these going this way and one going the opposite way, and another light square. Make sure I've got the right side up. Then there's a half square goes this way, long strip here, and one that goes this way. If I got that right? Yep. You would think this is very easy, you couldn't botch it up, but I can botch it up. That's why I'm the idiot quilter. I mean, you've already seen simple sewing, right sides together, and what do? Right off the bat, I blow it. Well, that's not unusual for me. These look funny. Nope, I guess that's the way they go. Okay. And a red square. And this way. And then this way. And this way. It should make a star. Yep. There's my star. It always looks a little weird when it's not quite all sewn together. So according to this, I now have to sew each row across, and I'm just looking at the way they're pressing it, and it looks like they're pressing them all in the same direction, which I would have thought it would have been alternate rows. Doesn't say. So 4 rows is shown by arrows, and then sew the rows together as per layout. Please do not trim. Okay. Alright, so let's take this first row. Those 2 go this way, this way, this one, this one. I'm laying them out for the way that I'm going to sew them. I sew them in pairs first. So we'll take these 2. I'm going to take my diagram over with me to the sewing machine. Okay, I've got my diagram down here. And let's see, so these first 2 goes the right way. All right. Sure that's lined up. And I think I can chain stitch this. Let's make sure I have, okay, so this one is going to go this way, this one goes on top. Let's separate these two pieces. And open them up, and I'm just finger press them for now. Just checking my diagram here to make sure I get them the right way. Yep, this one goes on top of here. Now once I get all the rows together across, before I join them to the whole thing, I will press them. So let's go get the second row. You know, it's very easy when you go from your cutting table to your sewing machine to basically turn your fabric around. So I'd like to double check my diagram, because I don't know how many times I have done that. You would think that that's something that's easy to avoid, but nope, it's very easy to get twisted around. And I forgot to switch the camera over, sorry about that. So I just sewed those two pieces together, finger press it, and this piece has to go this according to the diagram. It's one thing I say about their instructions, they're very clear, and the diagrams are great. More patterns should have diagrams, especially for those of us that are just starting out. It really helps. Okay, finger press that. Let's grab the next row. And this one we're doing in a similar fashion. This piece, let's make sure we get this piece right. Yes, this way. Half square triangles, when you start sewing them together, can sometimes throw you off. It's very easy to be thrown off by these kind of things. They're simple, but those are usually the things that screw you up the fastest. Okay, so there's my third row. So you can see this is going very fast. And my last row. Again, we can chain piece these, but let's just make sure we've got those going in the right way. That. Open this one up. Finger press that. It's going the right way. Okay. Open this one up. Make sure it's going in the way it's supposed to, and it is. And these two pieces go together. Almost had a little problem there. A jumper scrap would have been a good idea. Okay, now we need to press. So let's just move these over to the side. Now this is where they didn't really give any pressing instructions, so I'm going to do it the way I would think. So I press these ones to the left. That one didn't press to the left. There we go. I guess they assumed you would know how to press these, but I want my seams to lock. So this one I'm going to press to the right. So I'm just going to flip it over to do that, because I find it a little easier. And so this one goes like this. And then this one, my seam's going to go to the left. So the piece goes like that. And then this one, I want them to go to the right, so I'm just going to flip it over. Okay. Now all I have to do is put each of the rows together, so those two go this way, those two go this way. Let's just take both of them over here. Make sure I don't twist anything around. Now, I want to line, oops, almost lost you there. Now I want to line up my seams. So that should lock there. And I am going to get some clips. Just a few clips here. I like to clip them. I try to avoid pins, but I do like the clips because they do hold very firm. These are Wonder clips. And I just have 2 points. Make sure they lock. There we go. And so my quarter seam. Should probably be using my stiletto, but I'm living dangerously. He says, as he puts a needle through his finger. No, don't want to do that. Okay. Let's just open this and finger press it and see how my points are. Bang on, bang on. Very good. Okay, let's just set this aside, take this bottom piece, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to line up my seams. Sorry if my head's in the way. Okay, and oops, bogging down. Nope, this is not good. Okay, should have used a jumper strip. Let's grab a jumper strip. The reason you use a jumper strip, as if you didn't know, is to avoid what just happened, pulling the point down into the machine, or the edge. Just double checking here to make sure nothing shifted. I think we're okay. That makes life easier. Sure I'm lined up here. And let's take that jumper off and open this up. Things look good. Okay, I'm a little off right here, but you know, I don't think in the big scheme of things it's going to make any difference. So now I'm going to put these two pieces together in the same way as I did with the other. I'm going to line up my seams. You can feel them lock. Another thing I didn't used to know a year ago, pressing is very important, I have found, and although I had people tell me that, I refused to believe them, and I learned the hard way. So yes, it is very important. Now, trying to see here if I've got these lined up properly. I do. Okay, let's get this all in here. I'm all thumbs. I really am. Okay. Yeah, ooh, I forgot to use the jumper, but I'm okay. That's what usually happens. I forget to use the jumper, and then sometimes I'm okay, sometimes I'm not okay. Okay, so let's take this back to the other table and see what we have. Open this up. How'd my points do there? Pretty good, pretty good. Now where's that diagram? I have a problem, Houston. It figures. I did this one wrong. Do you see? Those are not supposed to be, all the points are supposed to be red. I sewed that on upside down. So I've got to rip that out, and I've got to rip that one out. Okay, I'm not going to let you see my agony here. I'm going to rip it out, resew it, and I'll be back. Okay, I thought you might want to see how I do some ripping out when I've got a long line of it. So I have this little handy device here. And I'm in the wrong camera. Sorry about that. No, I'm in the right camera. So I'm going to show you how I rip this out fast. I have this little shaver here. It's an electric seam ripper. It's a little shaver for neck hair, that kind of thing, but it works really well. So what you do is, I've already started pulling the stitches out to get this piece started. So I'm just going to pin this down to my mat, hold it up here, turn it on, and away we go. This does not rip your fabric. And you can see how fast, once you get it going, this is great if you've got a long strip to do. Okay, I've got that piece out, and I started this one at the bottom, which I have to take out as well, so just do the same thing. Bingo, done. Simple as that. Almost makes ripping things out enjoyable. Almost. So now let's see if we can get this right. But one thing I want to do is get rid of these little pieces, and actually it'd be better if I do it here. The end of this is like a little eraser. It just picks the little pieces out for you. Okay, that's out, and That's out. So I need to just press this again. Okay, so I'm going to take this back and sew this together the right way, I hope, and then I'll be back. So there you have it. There's the 9-inch square, or stars. Star. What do they call it? Let me get out my little thing here. It is called Day and Night Star 9-inch block. Okay, so there it is. But I want to tell you how much of an idiot I really am. And just in case you're wondering why I call this the Idiot Quilter. So I ripped out that row to fix it all up, and then I realized that I had sewn the bottom row on wrong. So I had to rip it out again. And so I spared you watching me do all of that, but I am an expert in ripping things out, or should say unsewing. So there it is. There's another square. That gives me 3 out of the 12. Eventually I'll get this quilt made and then I can send it off. It's going to be a while though. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this edition of the Idiot Quilter, and we'll see you for the next episode.